And we're live for some LOOPcast After Dark action. We're here ready for the presidential address to the nation. No, not the State of the Union. And you get to be the smart friend and correct all your other friends. Like, this is technically not the State of the Union. Josh roasted me for this very recently. Address to the nation. Mm-hmm. How are we feeling tonight, guys? Erica, you have your Mardi Gras spirit going. We do embrace Lent tomorrow.
On the floor below me, we are having a Mardi Gras rager. So I am fresh from the party, guys. I'm ready. I am Mardi Gras out, ready to roll, listen to some Trumpisms before I head into Ash Wednesday tomorrow morning.
Any bold predictions, Josh, for Trumpisms of the night?
Oh, for what he's going to say? I mean,
sure.
He's going to do a touchdown spike in the end zone over the fact that there's only like 8,000 people that try to illegally cross the border in the month of February. I mean, it was just like the number is astronomically 90% reduction. I mean, that's like, and like last week, it was like 45 that try to go through Del Rio. It's like
unbelievable,
anemic. And like usually you get like 3,000 a day, under Biden. And so that's going to be major spike of the football on that. He's going to crow because, he can't talk about much economic stuff right away because, how much can the president do like in 20 days or whatever it's been to dramatically change things on an economic scale? It takes a while for those things to ripple through the economy. But man, when it comes to the border, did anyone think it could happen this fast?
I mean, I thought we had to pass a bipartisan bill in Congress or something.
I was reliably told it was going to take a bill.
Pepperidge Farms remembers, yeah.
Right. I remember it was going to take a bill and that it couldn't be done through sheer will or force. I mean, it was simple. It's like maybe if you stop paying and advertising to the entire world to ship people to your own country, that maybe the border numbers will go down a little bit. Not rocket science, but it did take a lot of political will, I will say. And I think some people ding him for this, some of the hardcore people. I think the level of deportation is higher than I thought it would have been. I know it's not like as high, I think, as they're saying it's not going to meet the true projections of what was promised, but significant, no doubt.
And actually, in just doing a lot of researching on this anyway, it's the more accurate term, according to the church teachings, would be repatriation. We're simply returning people to their home countries. Mm-hmm. It's not a situation where a country is taking citizens who are lawful people in their own country and just deporting them and shipping them off to another country that isn't their own.
To a random location.
Catholic Church teaching is totally against that. Like, what are you doing? You're just expelling people, people of your own country because you don't like them for racial reasons or whatever. That's not what's happening here. We are actually, it's a grand homecoming. And, it's amazing to see how fast things are coming together.
Yeah, definite slam dunk there. One part of the speech that I'm interested to just hear how, if he tackles the foreign policy, I think Trump had genuinely hoped that we by now would have that deal with Ukraine signed. I think everyone went into that meeting on Friday expecting that it would be done and we would have this minerals deal and we would be moving towards peace in that region. That didn't happen, obviously. Although today Zelensky did come groveling back. Yes, Mercer.
Well, Mercer. It's not just that. I mean, like, you're right that he would hope you'd have the W on that deal to kind of crow about. But the fact that, Zelensky made an arse of himself right in front of all the TV cameras and Trump was like, no, you can't say that. Shut up. Basically, you're being crazy. You're not being respectful. We're not going to do it this way. That, I know it made all the defense contractors inside the Beltway very upset, but the average American voter was like, all right, we're not just going to roll over to this guy we've given billions and billions and billions of dollars to. So it was still a win. It wasn't the win he wanted, but he still got a win, is my point.
I think in some ways a broader win too, because I think it's really showing Europe. Like, he went over to Europe and he's like, oh, you guys will help me, right? And they're like, well, we can send like one plane and 3 guys, basically. And he's like, maybe I should go back to America. But it's going to encourage them to actually bolster their own defense capabilities at the end of the day,
Which is a good thing for them too, right?
Right. Like, I think it's a good thing for everyone. I don't think people understand.
We talked about that in the podcast before. I think while you were out there, Tom, that one of the things that Trump is trying to do is realign American foreign policy priorities. You might have still been here for this, but like, the idea behind, United States being the sole hyper superpower Like that's not the case anymore, just because China is growing in its influence and that kind of stuff. And Russia is still a lot smaller than it was, but it's still influential and it's exerting its power. So the United States feels even more so, sort of like the Monroe Doctrine. We should kind of make sure that, America is the number one influence on the North and South Americas, rather than having China come in on this stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why, in addition to Marco Rubio being awesome, he has wowed everybody. Like his performance,
He's been great.
He's been like, all these MAGA heads are like, wow, this guy's awesome.
Little Marco is big Marco now.
He is, and he's not screwing around, and I think, just the reactions that he was given, like he just looked Mr. Angry Cubano. He wanted to grab Zelensky by the scruff of his neck.
I love the memes that are coming out of that couch.
As soon as the meeting left, he's like, no, you get out of the White House now.
Yeah.
So again, it's reimagining and realigning our American foreign policy in a direction I'm approving of.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into the speech, we have some prominent guests. The first one on the list that I will say, Representative Riley Moore from West Virginia. Shout out. I'm hoping to get him on the show here. I'm in contact with his team. He invited Bishop Barron to come.
Who did you call him? The number, wait, what would you call that?
Bishop Barron?
Yeah, you said the number one guest? Is that what you said?
What do you mean? No, I said
top guests. Like most.
I'd say top. I just said we're going over some notable guests at the address.
Are you saying he's the best one of the guests, or is just the first one you're mentioning?
No, just the first. Is this a trap? What's going on?
Wow.
Is this a trap? Who's your top?
I think it is. Look at his face. Josh, what?
What are you saying?
What? Well,
Big Bad Brian Birch is going to be there?
That's right. He's in the house.
No way.
But is that a surprise? I mean, he's off to, bigger and better things. He's leaving us behind. We're having fun on the live stream, and he's, hanging out with Trump.
Yes, that is right, folks. Your favorite CV president, Brian Birch, is a guest of honor of Senator Josh Hawley, of the great state of Missouri.
Oh, I love Josh Hawley. That's
Brian
awesome.
Birch, as you know, is the designate for ambassador to the Holy See. So continue praying for Brian. Obviously, I just kind of said that. I mean, Bishop Barron is a rock star, and Brian would be the first to be like, yeah, dude, Bishop Barron's awesome. Come on now. But I just wanted to, give
But it's pretty cool. I didn't know he was in there. That's fantastic.
Did you guys catch the long National Communist Reporter article about him being silent and not speaking up and disgracing himself by attending and all that good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the decency to put an author behind it. It was the editorial staff wrote it.
That means they all stand behind it. It's the newspaper's editorial. Yeah,
they can't stand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I'm actually trying to get him. He's not going to be able to come on Wednesday. I'm trying to get him to come on Friday. Representative Riley Morris, really cool guy, strong Catholic. I know some guys on his team now, but I'm curious, like, what that'll be like to have Bishop Barron there. What his
it's
thoughts
kind of funny.
are.
West Virginia is not a state you would normally associate with Catholics. In fact,
That was my first thought. Yeah,
John Kennedy. It was his dad that kind of had people drive through West Virginia in 1860 for the Democratic primary with a whole, suitcases full of cash. And magically, this Catholic won the primary in 1960. It's not a very Catholic state. And everyone's like, oh, wow, a Catholic won a Protestant in West Virginia. It was all bootlegging money from his dad, but whatever. But they've had actually a not insignificant number of really good Catholics, as you mentioned, Riley Moore. And then Alex Mooney was my good friend, who's the Catholic congressman there for a while as well. So, that's some awesome. Good people from West Virginia.
So I got a few other guests to get to.
Protestants are good people. Don't get me in trouble.
Josh, I'm not here there's no gotcha moments tonight. Okay. It's Loopcast After Dark. Opinions flow freely. So some other guests, we have Mark Fogel, Melanie Fogel. Mark was a Pennsylvania school teacher that was released from a Russian prison February 2025 as part of prisoner swap. So his wife, Melanie, is going to accompany him there. We have January Littlejohn, a mother who rescued her daughter from gender ideology after school officials sought to help her young daughter socially transition.
Socially transition, these words.
Yeah, it's a real euphemism way of saying hiding that from the parents. Family of Corey Comparatori. Good old Italian name. Yeah. He obviously a volunteer fire chief. He was killed during the assassination attempt at the Trump rally in Butler. It's cool to see him there. Peyton McNabb, named some the family. Peyton McNabb, some might recognize. She was a North Carolina teen injured in a volleyball game by a transgender athlete spiking on her.
That's
she
going to
is
be
gonna be there.
that's going to be a key point. He's going to drill down on that and make that a big reference in his speech. So again, an issue
80-20.
that 80% of Americans are with Donald Trump on, and the Democrats, every single one of the Democrats in the United States Senate yesterday, blocking a vote on that bill.
Shame on them.
Did you see
In spite of-
Fetterman? Did you see Fetterman was like, I'm
Ugh.
standing up for whatever. And this was after he kind of did his whole like, oh no, I'm the cool Democrat. I'm the edgy Democrat that doesn't agree with the far left stuff.
No, he
I'm
went
different.
right along
it's
with
like,
them.
no, you're the same. Nice try,
You're the
Fetterman.
same.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, like you said the 80% number, but even if you drill down onto Democrats, registered Democrats, it's 67% of them are against it's their own constituency.
No, I mean, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I mean, like when you have an issue where 80% of the American people, believe X, whatever that position is, like getting boys out of girl sports, that means, just get the way our population is, like, a third of the people are Republicans, a third are kind of in the middle, and a third are Democrats. If you have 80% of the population, that means, you're talking about a pretty big chunk even of the
Right.
Democrats, because you're going to get like 95% of Republicans going, yeah, obviously, duh. And even of the independents, you're talking like, 85%. Yeah, of course. That means 65 to 70% of Democrats are, in favor of the policy too. And it just so happens that those 70% of Democrats who are sensible on this issue are represented 100% by people who are completely opposed to them. So maybe it's time for a new party. What do you think? A new party that's not the Democratic Party, a second political party that would better represent voters who are not being currently represented by Democrats, right?
Sounds good to me.
Project 2029.
Not that version. I don't like that version.
Got a few more here. Alexis Nungare. She's a Texas mother whose 12-year-old daughter was murdered in 2024 by two Venezuelan nationals, previously released by immigration authorities. So she also comes with the mother and sister of Laken Riley, 22-year-old nursing student murdered by an undocumented immigrant, illegal. So Jeff Denhard, Alabama steelworker, Haley Ferguson, Tennessee recipient of the Fostering the Future Scholarship linked to Melania Trump's Be Best initiative, and Roberto Ortiz, a Texas Border Patrol agent shot by cartel members. This is emphasizing the border security and law enforcement agenda. So the Democratic invitees, they all have something in common. So that was a little bit of a diverse group from Trump so far. Do you have any guesses? Let's see if this is a good opportunity for chat engagement. So the Democrats have, let's say like 10 invitees right now. They all have one thing in common. If anyone can guess it before I can get to, that would be great.
Prizes in the chat.
And just a helpful hint to our esteemed viewers who are watching this. What is it that is the burning fire and desire of all Democrats? What do they love more than anything else? What do they want to protect more than anything else? What do they cherish? What is it that Democratic senators and congressmen know they need to stand in the gap and protect?
Can I answer that? Or are we waiting for that?
Well, so far we have Dylan Mulvaney.
Dylan Mulvaney.
That's not a bad guess, actually.
Man.
Not Dylan Mulvaney.
No.
The Dylan Mulvaney thing.
Matthew Trump, you're getting closer. My Money.
Yep.
Getting closer. Celebrities, climate, no. My Money is the
closest. Yes, there you go.
Who got it? Who's that?
Patsy Washington.
They've been fired from the government.
Yes.
This is true.
The victims of the Doge doggy.
Yep. Alyssa Ellman, disabled
veteran. Laid off federal employees.
Fired. Tiffany Ramos, fired from Department of Agriculture. Michael Massalf, former VA Inspector General, dismissed by Trump. Marine veteran. Andrew Lennox, Marine veteran, fired from a Virginia hospital, or VA hospital, rather. Doug Kowaleski, fired from the National Science Foundation. Excuse me, drinking Diet Coke. But yeah, fired feds. And I actually just had a conversation with a friend from DC. He's like, yeah, like people are actually getting laid off around here. And the same friend I've talked to, he's like, yeah, I know people here who have government jobs and they work like 15 hours a week and pretty openly talk about that. And it's a full-time job and they get paid like 160 grand, something like that. And let's just say vast majority of feds, I have little to no sympathy for any of these jobs. I mean, welcome to the rest of the country. You're going to have to compete and deal with recessions like the rest of us. the only recession-proof part of America for my entire life and many generations has been that DMV area.
Funny you mentioned that, Tom. I did notice something this weekend when I was going around Washington, D.C. with my daughter, touring the sites, going through different neighborhoods. Boy, there were a lot of for sale signs on these houses. This might be interesting. Maybe something actually is happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trim them. Seriously. It's crazy people are behind this. Oh, did you see the latest yard sign, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Pull up the yard sign. While you're doing that,
perfect.
I do just want to because I think some people in the chat were like, okay, is it Planned Parenthood? Is it abortion? And yeah, you're right. The way that we framed it was, what do they love more than anything else? And they have to protect more than anything else. Yes, they love abortion. But in order for them to effect their abortion agenda, they need the deep state. They love the federal government. And that's what Project 2029 that we talked about yesterday was all about, is we need to shore up this deep state where we, the experts, can legislate totally protected, totally insulated from the American people. And that's what this represents right here, this list of yes.
Yeah, the abortion isn't necessarily a wrong answer, obviously, but
but this is the mechanism without
the
which
state is what they, it's their be all end all worship. Yeah.
New yard sign dropped. This house supports federal workers.
I'd like to shout out what Catherine Cacchetti, sorry for butchering your name. She said, "I'm a nurse who got laid off from the lockdowns. I have little sympathy for Fed employees being laid off." Oh,
that was true.
Yeah, I'm with you, hon.
Laid you off and forced you to take medicine, the vaccine, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's worse than that. Didn't let you go out of your house. Decided whether or not you could see your family members. I mean,
someone in my family actually she wanted to travel to Canada to see family, and they made her get the jab. This is a couple years ago, and then like within hours, her hands started transforming, and she ultimately had to quit her job because she couldn't be a chiropractor anymore. I mean, it's just like, again, like it almost feels like coercion. Do you want to see your mom? Like,
No, you misspoke. It's not. It almost seems like it was coercion. It was complete tyranny. And what it did create ended up being the undoing of Democrats. I mean, you look at like the crunchy moms behind RFK Jr., like that voting block was completely radicalized during COVID and never looked back. I mean, yeah.
And we do have a potential here with Maha of like adding to our coalition. The biggest surprise I think I've seen, like I did not expect, like I said this, I did not expect Doge to be a big deal. So I know they're going to talk about that. I know Trump's going to talk about that tonight. Doge has been a much bigger success than I would have thought. A lot more transparency, and we're able to see things. All the money our money's being wasted on, and obviously understanding that so much of the federal funds, especially the foreign aid, is really just a kickback scheme to pay off, Democrats and all their friends. So that I think is something that's going to definitely be talked about tonight. But the surprise for me has been that there's been this big bump in support amongst young people aged 18 to 29. It's like a 16-point turnaround. There were like only about 41% were in support of Trump when he was sworn into office. And then here we are 6 weeks later, and it's at like 52%. These people are like, this, I'm liking what I'm seeing. So, I mean,
I don't know if you guys have seen Doge.gov, but if you guys are curious, you can go see all the latest cuts. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is the transparency that we asked for, and I appreciate the Trump team taking advantage of using X and using the media, using independent media, opening up the White House press corps and the press room to independent voices has been great. I love following Mary Margaret Olohan now because she is like in the room. She's on Air Force One. And this is a reporter, a journalist who I trust. And so knowing that she's there and she's welcome there has been a real game changer for me, the way that they treat the media.
The funny thing, though, is you get the lefties are like, can you believe what they're doing? Can you believe what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, no, dude, I can't. And no, I'm not like offended at all. No, I did vote for this.
The best is when you voted for this. Now you see like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, like, yeah. I never thought I'd get it.
I wish I could vote again. Yeah,
I've never won before.
I will say the one caveat on Doge is like, I think they laid off. Was it like Nora, like the weather people, like and then they like rehired them back. So there is definitely
Noah.
some like
So
they've
what?
been
Fine. It's like what Kevin O'Leary said, the other day. It's like cut, 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 cut.
Yeah.
And when you get done, like, do you have to add a little back in? Fine. That's the
it.
better way to do it. But if you do the thing where what the Democrats want to do is find one little thing that you shouldn't have cut, and then we got to freeze everything
Right.
and not do anything and get
And
an
that's how you
ossified
preserve
federal government that's bloated as all hell. Like, no.
Right.
I mean, if it really is that important, bring back Jerry Lewis from the dead, get on the phone number, do a telethon and raise the money that way, for crying out loud, instead of borrowing money from China, the money we don't have. I'm so sick of this stuff. Gosh. It's like, did you see this thing with the op-ed the other day? Like, oh, Musk and Trump are going to go to hell. That's what the Jesuits said. I couldn't believe this. Can you believe this? That a Jesuit actually believes in hell?
Yeah.
Esteemed churchman Thomas J. Reese with very reasonable opinions. Yeah, that was he's been pretty unhinged for a while, but
that was unhinged. It was really interesting too, because I was digging into that. And I know you did some digging into the organizations that he mentioned, but digging into it, he actually published that particular article where he said Trump and Vance are going to hell. He like literally just said that they are going to hell. That was in the Salt Lake City Tribune. He had the same article in a different version for the National Catholic Register. And you do the side by side. The one for the left Catholics was like, "We love John Paul II."
I like it. Hell is too hot for a National Catholic Register reporter. But the Mormons,
are fine. Cool, just tell the Mormons about hell. Yeah, the man knows his audience.
Interesting. So you look at these two headlines. You have commentary. Will Trump and Musk go to hell for defunding charitable works that save lives? Their cuts run counter to Christ's command. So true. Followers of Jesus cannot remain silent. And then you get this Religion Unplugged article. Christian values have proven consistent. Trump remains African church's favorite politician. And I'm like, something gives here. What's going on?
Because he's not paying for transgender comic books,
Well, but Josh, I looked into this too, and Religion Unplugged is not like a right-wing conservative Orthodox organization. Like they actually tried to paint in a bad light, and even through the article, you could see. Like I went through on this thread, and it was like, most of the organizations complaining of the aid cut have been influencing our communities to sin against God by eliminating lives, depopulating our communities. Notable pastors praise the Trump administration for cutting funding to such NGOs that provide contraception and safe abortion services in several African countries. Like you see by the language, this isn't like a real big Trump paper or anything like that. It's just, we talked to these pastors in Africa and they're happy. Like they're thrilled.
Right.
Yeah. And you keep going. And then I went to the Reese article and I was like, okay, what are they saying? And then Reese is like, women and children will go hungry. Food will rot in warehouses where families starve. Children will be born with HIV, among other tragedies, said Interaction. And so I look into Interaction. I was like, what is this? And sure enough, it's like an NGO of an NGO. Like it's like a coordinator of other NGOs. And I was like, all right, let's do a quick search on that. And sure enough, they're involved in illegal abortion clinics in Africa. Like even when it's against a state's laws to have them, they were still putting them there. They were violating state sovereignty by lobbying from the outside to get them to change their laws on abortion and gender ideology, which these Africans are like, this is not of our culture. Like, we're like, what are you doing here? Like, where's this money coming from? And then they look and they're like, oh my gosh, this is coming from America. Like this is coming from USAID. Right. So yeah, sure enough, 100% of their employee contributions went to left-wing progressive organizations, according to FEC filing. So it's like exactly what Trump cut. And I can see why they like him. Like if you dig into it past like 1 second.
Right. Talk about colonialism.
Oh yeah. The boy Matt Walsh is there.
Yeah. Hey, there's Matt and Ben Shapiro.
The gang.
Great. Riley Gaines.
It is always funny seeing Matt in the wild. I saw him in DC during inauguration. He had like a little security detail. I walked by him.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
Large security detail.
We got Elon in the house now too.
Oh boy. Everyone's coming in.
Oh, he dressed up. Look, he wore a suit.
Aw.
He's not doing the like hat and t-shirt gig that he does in the.
Well, when he does the hat and t-shirt gig, he's still wearing a jacket in the Oval Office. So even though it's not a tie,
all right.
It's a jacket. It's not nothing.
All right, Josh. All right.
It's not nothing.
Don't pretty go
close. Pretty close to nothing. Josh. Yeah. Zelensky adjacent.
It's gonna be good. Is there like a warm up? Is there like an opening act here? No. All right.
Opening act.
I mean, it's a new era. I expect anything.
There's like people walking out right now. I got
I
an
want to
eye
see
on
what
it.
Lonnie is wearing. Come on.
Let me see. I'll pull it here. I have it on mute, so we should be fine. I got.
There's JD.
Oh no, we don't want that.
Hey, someone in the chat asked, "We're doing LOOPcast tomorrow," and the answer is yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll
Catch
be
me
back.
tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Ready to rock. Never catch me slipping. Someone asked about the status of my press pass. No, I have not heard back from the administration, and I'm a little salty. Oh, there's JD.
Guys. Yep. I love that Speaker Johnson is in Nancy Pelosi's former chair.
Yeah, the video of her ripping up the speech.
No white pantsuits tonight.
Nah.
No tearing up of the speech. Hashtag
boy.
brave and stunning.
Just the boys. I mean, white boy summer is still in full effect.
Are we going to have a blow up? Are we going to have an interruption? What do you think?
Yeah.
Josh?
What were the protests? I think they said they were going to wear pink.
Of course, there's going to be an eruption. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah,
someone asked. Shout out Carlos. He's like, will there be a land acknowledgement by Elizabeth Warren?
No, it's her land, so she doesn't have to acknowledge.
Oh.
Who did one? Oh, there was one at the Oscars, right? It
was, I almost
Hough.
played that for my Twilight Zone, but it was so lame.
Yeah, she's.
Oh, we got pink pantsuits. Oh, come on, ladies.
That's so like 2015 or pink. Wait, what's going on here?
Oh, we're announcing people.
Getting announced. Let's see. Oh.
They got to announce like the cabinet and the Supreme Court and everyone else.
This will be a while.
So this might be like the delegation.
Do you guys remember the Biden State of the Union when he like visibly had dementia and then he saw Marjorie Greene Taylor and like wasn't she wearing a MAGA hat or something? He kind of did like it was like a meme, instant meme.
Yeah.
Man, there's some moments.
Yeah, here's our Supreme Court, you know.
Oh, Amy curled her hair. Good job, Amy.
Look at that,
Sorry,
guys. Erica's observations.
Remember when the Girl Scouts commended her for being the fourth female justice, and then they had to backtrack it because all the feminists got mad?
Yes.
Yeah, you actually can't. You can't congratulate people for really anything anymore without worry for political blowback. Like, what was his name?
No, on the conservative side, yeah. I mean,
well, I know, but remember what was it, Russ or something? His college, Wheaton College, Russ Vo.
Yeah, Russ Vo.
And they had to retract their congratulations. It's the lamest thing I've ever seen. At least Ohio State stood by theirs.
Well, the good thing about that was that it told a lot of evangelicals that Wheaton is, had been captured and it's not conservative anymore. And so that was, it's good for customers to know that the place is worthless. So evangelicals that can then send their kids to Hillsdale will learn into Catholicism.
Speaking of, we're getting your boy Tyler on, right?
Hillsdale. We are. That'd be awesome.
Tyler O'Neill.
Hillsdale, we up.
Hillsdale.
That'll be next week, yeah.
Yeah, is Trump going to get like a WWE entrance, you think?
Linda McMahon's going to get up there and announce it. Come in.
Yeah, can you get some like insider tea from Brian, Josh? Just shoot him a few texts. He's good at that. He'll sneak us some pics every once in a while on Slack.
Well, he tells me stuff that I don't, that I can't sometimes share publicly, but
lame.
Oh man, everyone's getting so old.
Is that just a general indictment on Congress?
Well, I am too. I'm also getting so old. But I just look at Congress and I'm like, every time it's the same people since I was like 6 years old.
Yeah, man, they just keep kicking it.
At least we've got JD and Speaker Johnson. They're like up there. It's great.
Yeah, the only downside about tonight is we don't get to see JD's kids and all the Band-Aids.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, they're probably pretty tuckered.
Yeah. Usha's probably there, you think, right? Or no?
Probably, yeah. She's got someone watching the kids, I would think, because she's going to want to be there for him.
Right.
But it's not a lock, and he's not speaking, but I would think so.
Yeah. Vance is back from skiing in jeans.
Exactly.
Yeah. Someone said Linda McMahon is doing the WDE entry.
McMahon.
This is Pogo's first night out since the baby was born, guys.
Yeah.
the pink.
Oh, the hot pink baby. No.
Oh my gosh, man.
Oh,
Stunning and brave.
oh man.
Hakeem, you didn't even get the pink memo, dude. You could have wore a pink suit. Could have Ken dialed it.
Kenergy.
Why aren't all Democrats wearing, that same color? I don't understand. Why are some of them wearing it and some aren't? What is the
That's 'cause
difference?
they're up for
They're in
re-election,
disarray.
Josh.
They're in disarray, Josh.
Who are the ones that are wearing the pink though?
Oh, let me look it up. I'll
the
tell you.
ladies.
Oh, wait. So they do know what a woman is. Okay, I was just getting
Dang. Oh man. Yeah, it is really nice to see Pelosi not up there. Someone made that observation already, but
that's the Democratic Women's Caucus. I don't know if they're all women, but they're protesting Trump's policies. Pink is the color of power and protest. So you all remember that when they stand
that's
up.
facts.
Yeah.
That's facts.
That's why I never wear it.
Dojo.
It's power and protest, Jennifer.
Oh man. I'll never forget the first women's march, man. You just had to be there.
Yeah.
So it was a vibe.
I
Totally
can't even
died,
get the
by
name
the
of
way.
hat.
Like there was supposed to be one this year, and it was super lame.
Well, it's because they changed it to the People's March.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it totally
right.
diluted any meaning to it.
Yeah, it's like they can't even like keep it going for long enough. They always find some identity politics to blow something up.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love Democrats, man.
No, I agree. Baby pink, a lot of women can pull off baby pink. Just talking to the chat here. It's the neon hot pink. That's what I'm talking about. Look
like Miami Vice.
Oh, we have Ukraine scarves and hot pink scarves going on.
Wow,
too.
double protest.
Oh,
no MAGA hat on MTG. That meme was unreal. What a wild time to be. You're like watching our president, who the bar was so low for him that he managed to overperform. Didn't he call Laken Riley Lincoln Riley? That was the big gotcha from the night.
Name right.
Oh, and then him just wandering around the floor. Clearly,
what has he changed? Do you remember doing this show a year ago and
just being depressed?
Just the vibe. I was very depressed. It was very depressing.
What is going on with our country?
You're like, we might have this for 4 more years, but thanks.
Pelosi's got her pink on. What do you think about that shade of pink?
That one's a little better. Yeah, the more magenta going into royal purple. Definitely doable. And the little baby pink.
Oh
my gosh.
This is like a middle school t-shirt. It's like getting signed by your friends.
That is Pepto-Bismol on steroids pink.
Pepto-Bismol.
Josh, who is this? Do you know who this is?
I couldn't see, no.
It's
not worth going back to be honest.
No.
Power and protest, ladies.
Oh, man.
Is that Melania?
Did you see the tan Melania suit, Erica, that everyone would have fawned over if she was a Democrat?
I did. She looked very sharp. It was a little bro for me, a little masculine, but given that she was, isn't she lovely? She's lovely.
But she's got to not wear anything remotely pink. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So Ash Wednesday gray it is.
It's her Catholic roots.
Well, we hope she becomes more Catholic,
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Praying. I pray everyone does.
Oh, there's what's his name? Shoot. American Principles Project. Terry
Schilling's in the audience. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, there's Usha.
Yeah.
Mm. So classy.
Sharon in the chat, I'm donating my pink clothes tomorrow.
Sorry, Sharon.
They cut to Matt Walsh and cut off right away. That was the quickest I've seen a camera cut in a long time. Is she pregnant? Dare I? Oh, yeah, no. Okay, she better be. I'm like, that's like you can't do that as a man.
Yeah, Pogo.
Oh, there's the boy Rubio.
Yay, Marco. Cubano. I am happy for him. I'm so happy he is where he is.
The boy Scott. I like Scott. I know the gay stuff, but I like Scott Bessent. Everything I've seen from him has been great.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
He's great in hostile interviews. Just explains things
All of
really
the
well.
cabinet members are.
They are all very good.
That was a prerequisite for Trump apparently this time around. I want
Clearly.
fighters, and
Yeah.
it was just kind of. I think it all started in the 2012 campaign with Newt Gingrich going to war with, I think, John King, CNN, realizing that our opponents are actually not the Democratic Party. It truly is the media, because the media, they are the stenographers of the elite state, like whether it's the fourth state, whether it's all the different institutions, Hollywood, Madison Avenue. It is the media. They are the stenographers of the regime, and they're
Josh, and it turns out they were getting paid by the regime.
I know.
We found out that they literally are. It was like, wasn't
there's Pete Hegseth. Yeah, talk about great on media. I mean,
he's great.
Saw RFK earlier.
Do you see that workout he did with that humongous dude in Germany? I love
that guy.
That
was
picture.
Boss, dude.
That guy was the Hulk. That was like, we got the Hulk on our side. I'm glad he was on our side. He's huge.
Yeah, quite a shift from.
We should send pictures of that guy to other countries. Go, this guy.
Gosh, we did. We put it out on Twitter. It was like Hegseth doing a workout with him. I'm like, that guy would snap your neck.
He's considered size medium in our country.
Oh, there's Russ.
Yeah,
man, dude.
Love that guy. I saw Sean Duffy too. Man, I love these guys. Who's the guy with the beard, Josh? I know that was Chip Roy, but then I missed him.
Well, I was just going to answer a chat question. They always have somebody who's the designated survivor, and tonight it's the Secretary of Veteran Affairs, Doug Collins.
Interesting. Right. Why would they announce that?
There's no reason not to announce
whoever's
it.
planning to blow up Congress knows who they're going to get.
In that 1 in 100,000 chance, hopefully, like it never happens. But if it does, then everyone knows
Josh,
that's who's the president.
It already has. I've seen the show on Netflix or whatever.
Many seasons of the show. I watched the first season and then like into the second, it just started to get too sober.
I couldn't even get past the first. That was like one of those things. My dad was like, "Hey, we should watch Lethal Weapon." I was like, "Great," and I was watching. I was like, "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen." Like
what,
fun
the
80s
TV show you're talking about, or the movies, Lethal Weapon?
The movies.
Dude, I love the movies. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I knew you'd say something like that. Of course you would, because you're
worse on everything.
What are you talking about? Lethal Weapon was ridiculous. He killed everyone with a pistol in like one magazine. It was insane. No, and I was like, it was fun, kind of like chummy, like 80s nostalgia. But
Vance does not have a pink tie. I just want to clarify for the chat that would be what you call like a crimson red going on there.
But Designated Survivor, I feel like fell in the same category where it was just.
It would have been a better movie than a TV show.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because the effects were bad or something. Something took me out of it. I just couldn't take it seriously. I was out after one episode.
Just because he was from Cornell. Like, come on.
Oh yeah.
Who's from Cornell?
The guy Kiefer is just.
Kiefer's.
Did Kiefer in real life go to Cornell?
No, his character.
No, the character.
I was just having fun. I was just having fun.
I feel like actors do that though. They like act and then they go to some Ivy League university after or during it. Keith.
Oh yeah. RFK's working the crowd. I can see it's giving hugs to everybody.
Yeah, we got different takes on Designated Survivor in the chat. Look, I'm not here to tell you what to like or not to like.
I think that's a generational kind of show. So like, we've got 3 generations represented here in Loopcast, and then in the chat, many more. So I do think
we have brilliant people in the chat like John Neal who say, I agree with Josh.
I'm not going to dispute the genius of the chat. I might dispute Josh's contributions, but the chat knows all.
That's what makes the show what it is, Poco.
Whatever you say, Tom. See, J.D. Vance doesn't strike me as particularly tall, but Mike
He's
Johnson,
tall.
He's tall.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance is tall, taller than I thought he was. Yeah, Mike Johnson's my height.
There you go.
He's like 5'8", right?
Remember the pictures from the campaign where it was like Mike Johnson, and then you'd have like Dana Reed and Joe Rogan.
Oh, there's Kelly Loeffler, this SBA secretary. She was at the prayer breakfast.
Joe Rogan is really short. really
Yeah, I
short.
didn't know
like,
that.
surprisingly short. Yeah, 'cause
But he's twice as wide as Mike Johnson.
he's thick. He's like a refrigerator.
So, like,
Awesome.
I'm 6'1", JD Vance is 6'2", so he's not that much taller.
6'2" is tall. What are you talking, Josh? You have tall privilege. You walk around the world just thinking that everyone's tall. It's not like that. 6'2" is tall, man.
So, I mean, whatever.
I've seen him in real life. I was at his
I'm a Viking.
Senate
That's
party.
not that tall to me.
Yes, we know, Josh. We know about your Norse roots. Man. All right. Come on, guys. We're at 9:11.
I know. Ooh. JD is 6'2". Yeah, Mike Johnson, I just
Not
pulled
so
it up,
much.
5'7".
They say that's the average height of men. I'm like,
Really? That's average?
I'm like, really?
Wait,
and I
5'8"
forget
is
that-
average.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I forget about, like, Connecticut and things like that. So
Ah. Oh, that's really funny.
I used to live in
Tiny
Connecticut.
shriveled
I
little
felt like a
Wahlburgers.
giant.
You are.
Wait, why is everyone short in Connecticut?
We're not.
mean-
We're not every.
There's a lot of wonderful people from Connecticut who happen to be of Italian and proud Portuguese heritage. They're just,
There's
not,
What's
they're
what's
just
the
not-
what's the
not-
shortest state?
I would
Ooh,
guess
that's
Hawaii.
We gotta grok that.
All right, I'm doing it.
I'd put $1 on Hawaii.
Ooh, oh no, this is in terms of name length. Utah.
You were right.
Shorter.
It's Hawaii.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like there's all these. Maybe it's selection bias because all of the Polynesian homies that I see play for Oregon and they're linemen. You know what I mean? Like when I see Hawaiians, I see the big ones because they play.
Okay, they
offensive
want to
line.
know how tall is Pogo.
I'm 5'8".
Hey, you beat Mike Johnson.
I'm average.
Yeah, you rounded up.
Round it up.
Yeah, probably.
What, did you pull out the measuring tape on me?
I'm just guessing you're like 5'7.01". You're like, I guess I got to round up.
No. If I were to list my height
So
for
trash
the
talking.
NBA or something like that, then I would be like 6'1" in cleats. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Okay,
Mercer, how
6'1"
tall
in
are you
basketball
again?
shoes.
6'1".
6'1".
With 6'1". Back when I had an afro, 6'5". No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Josh with an
Fletch.
afro. I'd pay to see that.
That would be awesome. We have pictures. We need pictures.
Josh,
Give you a Trump wig.
Josh benefits greatly from the fact he went to college before cell phones, before everyone had a camera in their pocket. Let's put it
Oh
that
my
way.
gosh, yeah,
Might actually have saved his career. Who knows?
yeah.
We had to live in a different reality, Josh. There's cameras everywhere.
I know. If
good
that's the only reason why Brian has any chance to send a confirmation.
True.
Short kings in the
Yeah.
house. Pogo, when people meet you in person, do they go, "Whoa, you're shorter than I thought"? Or is that sort of like you have the short king vibe, so they get that?
I don't think they talk about that. They're like, oh my gosh, he's almost as handsome as that Mercer guy.
No. You know what's
try.
funny is people recognize, well, because this is a podcast, people recognize my voice. They don't, some people watch, but usually it's after I start talking, they'll be like, there's this podcast, the Catholic Vote, that I listen to. Like, I was like, yeah, that's me.
That's me.
Which is cool. I do get recognized at weddings a lot of times because I shoot weddings on the weekends. Shout out my beautiful wife for wedding photography company. So I've had people at masses be like, "Hey, are you Tom from LOOPcast?" Like, yeah, what's up?
Really?
Take a
That's
few pics
amazing
for it,
because I was at the prayer breakfast and no one noticed me at all.
Oh, really?
That's
Oh, that
not
was a good
true.
that was a good ego
That
check
is
for you,
not
Josh.
true. All right.
Was he lying or is that a good ego check?
I was lying. It was pretty crazy. It was
Wait,
fun.
Are we getting Trump now?
Yeah.
There we go.
This is a long greeting line.
Yeah, that's
takes a long time. Everyone has to hug Trump. Is that Nancy Mace who's like, thank you?
She loves the camera, so
This
I
guy's
wouldn't be
locked
surprised.
Look at this guy right here. It must be a Secret Service or something locked in.
Yeah.
Love to see that focus.
The guy that's first on the screen.
Like his head keeps bobbing.
Yeah,
he might be with the House. The other guys are with the Secret Service.
Gotcha. He's locked in. Whoever that is, locked in.
Who are the other guys like immediately behind him?
These congressmen and women line up on the route, the parade route, if you will, and they wait there all day and for hours because they want to be on the camera when they're shaking the president's hand.
Yeah, got to get that clip for the campaign, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Brett Kavanaugh, I like beer.
Hey, who brought you here? Yeah, that's right. I nominated you guys. Okay, don't forget. All right, don't forget. Come on.
Oh man.
Is that retired Kennedy there? Yeah, Anthony Kennedy, the old justice.
What voodoo necklace did Ketanji Brown Jackson wear today?
Oh my goodness.
I don't see her. Was she? I didn't see Clarence either.
I didn't see him. I didn't see Clarence either.
Yeah.
The generals he didn't fire. Remember the freak out that the liberals had about firing generals?
Milley?
All of them. Like there's so many that he fired. People are like, how dare the people's president actually fire generals? Like what?
The commander-in-chief.
Commander-in-chief,
yeah,
right.
Making commander-in-chief
Read
decisions.
the Constitution.
Yeah.
Oh, there's her hat. Marjorie
She's got
Taylor
it.
Greene with the Trump hat on.
Oh man.
She is so on brand. She's consistent.
You can't. Hey, she's got a brand, no doubt. All right, let's get back to Trump here.
Let's do it.
6 weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started. I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again. There's never been anything like it. The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes. We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country. And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you. Over the past 6 weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions, a record, to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it. In fact, it has been stated by many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation. By many. And what makes it even more impressive is that, do you know who number 2 is? George Washington. How about that? How about that? I don't know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever. They heard my words and they chose not to come. Much easier that way. In comparison, under Joe Biden, the worst president in American history, there were hundreds of thousands of illegal crossings a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country. Who would want to do that? This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way. So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again. Every day, my administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves, and we're doing it. This is a time for big dreams and bold action. Upon taking office, I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring, a freeze on all new federal regulations, and a freeze on all foreign aid. I terminated the ridiculous Green New Scam. I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars that other countries were not paying. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization. And I also withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council. We ended all of Biden's environmental restrictions that were making our country far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction. To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated, just like I did in my very successful first term. And in that first term, we set records on ending unnecessary rules and regulations like no other president had done before. We ordered all federal workers to return to the office they will either show up for work in person or be removed from their job. And we've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good. And I have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back. And 2 days ago, I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America. I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And likewise, I renamed, for a great president, William McKinley, Mount McKinley again. Beautiful Alaska. We love Alaska. We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military. And our country will be woke no longer. We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important. You should be hired based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports. Three years ago, Peyton McNabb was an all-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it. Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose all federal funding. And if you really want to see numbers, Just take a look at what happened in the women's boxing, weightlifting, track and field, swimming, or cycling, where a male recently finished a long-distance race 5 hours and 14 minutes ahead of a woman for a new record by 5 hours. Broke the record by 5 hours. It's demeaning for women, and it's very bad for our country. We're not going to put up with it any longer. What I have just described is only a small fraction of the common sense revolution that is now, because of us, sweeping the entire world. Common sense has become a common theme, and we will never go back. Never. Never going to let that happen. Among my very highest priorities is to rescue our economy and get dramatic and immediate relief to working families. As you know, we inherited from the last administration an economic catastrophe and an inflation nightmare. Their policies drove up energy prices, pushed up grocery costs, and drove the necessities of life out of reach for millions and millions of Americans. They've never had anything like it. We suffered the worst inflation in 48 years, but perhaps even in the history of our country. They're not sure. As president, I'm fighting every day to reverse this damage and make America affordable again. Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control, and we're working hard to get it back down. Secretary, do a good job on that. You inherited a total mess from the previous administration. Do a good job. A major focus of our fight to defeat inflation is rapidly reducing the cost of energy. The previous administration cut the number of new oil and gas leases by 95%, slowed pipeline construction to a halt, and closed more than 100 power plants. We are opening up many of those power plants right now. And frankly, we have never seen anything like it. That's why on my first day in office, I declared a national energy emergency. As you've heard me say many times, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation on earth, and by far. And now I fully authorize the most talented team ever assembled to go and get it. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill. My administration is also working on a gigantic natural gas pipeline in Alaska, among the largest in the world, where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions of dollars each. There's never been anything like that one. It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA. To further combat inflation, we will not only be reducing the cost of energy, but will be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars. And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight. Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody here, even this side, appreciates it, I believe. They just don't want to admit that. Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real. $32 million for a left-wing propaganda operation in Moldova. $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique. $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program. $1.9 billion to recently created Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's involved. Just at the last moment, the money was passed over by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard of her? A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City. He's a real estate developer. He's done very well. $250,000 to increase vegan local climate action innovation in Zambia. $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well with learning. We know what we're doing. We should use it ourselves. And $101 million for DEI contracts at the Department of Education, the most ever paid, nothing even like it. Under the Trump administration, all of these scams, and they're far worse, but I didn't think it was appropriate to talk about them. They're so bad. Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud. And we've taken back the money and reduced our debt to fight inflation and other things. Taking back a lot of that money. We got it just in time. This is just the beginning. The Government Accountability Office, a federal government office, has estimated annual fraud of over $500 billion in our nation, and we are working very hard to stop it. We're going to. We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people that we love rely on. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old. It lists 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129. 3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them. And we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck. Good luck. You're going to find it. But a lot of money is paid out to people because it just keeps getting paid, and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. 1.3 million people from ages 150 to 159, and over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old. We have a healthier country than I thought, Bobby. Including, to finish, 1,039 people between the ages of 220 and 229, one person between the age of 240 and 249, and one person is listed at 360 years of age. More than 100 years older than our country. But we're going to find out where that money's going, and it's not going to be pretty. By slashing all of the fraud, waste, and theft we can find, we will defeat inflation, bring down mortgage rates, lower car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families. And today, interest rates took a beautiful drop, big, beautiful drop. It's about time. And in the near future, I want to do what has not been done in 24 years, balance the federal budget. We're going to balance it. With that goal in mind, we have developed in great detail what we are calling the Gold Card, which goes on sale very, very soon. For $5 million, we will allow the most successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like the green card, but better and more sophisticated. And these people will have to pay tax in our country. They won't have to pay tax from where they came. The money that they've made, you wouldn't want to do that, but they have to pay tax, create jobs. They'll also be taking people out of colleges and paying for them so that we can keep them in our country instead of having them being forced out. Number one, at the top school, as an example, being forced out and not being allowed to stay and create tremendous numbers of jobs and great success for a company out there. So while we take out the criminals, killers, traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country, we will now bring in brilliant, hardworking, job-creating people. They're going to pay a lot of money, and we're going to reduce our debt with that money. Americans have given us a mandate for bold and profound change. For nearly 100 years, the federal bureaucracy has grown until it has crushed our freedoms, ballooned our deficits, and held back America's potential in every possible way. The nation founded by pioneers and risk takers now drowns under millions and millions of pages of regulations and debt. Approvals that should take 10 days to get instead take 10 years, 15 years, and even 20 years before you're rejected. Meanwhile, we have hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have not been showing up to work. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again. And any federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately. Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over. And the next phase of our plan to deliver the greatest economy in history is for this Congress to pass tax cuts for everybody. They're in there. They're waiting for you to vote. And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that. But I know this group is going to be voting for the tax. Thank you. It's a very, very big part of our plan. We had tremendous success in our first term with it. A very big part of our plan. We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board. And to get urgently needed relief to Americans hit especially hard by inflation, I'm calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors. And I also want to make interest payments on car loans tax deductible, but only if the car is made in America. And by the way, we're going to have growth in the auto industry like nobody's ever seen. Plants are opening up all over the place. Deals are being made. Never seen. That's a combination of the election win and tariffs. It's a beautiful word, isn't it? That, along with our other policies, will allow our auto industry to absolutely boom. It's going to boom. Spoke to the majors today, all three, the top people, and they're so excited. In fact, already numerous car companies have announced that they will be building massive automobile plants in America, with Honda just announcing a new plant in Indiana, one of the largest anywhere in the world. And this has taken place since our great victory on November 5th, a date which will hopefully go down as one of the most important in the history of our country. In addition, as part of our tax cuts, we want to cut taxes on domestic production and all manufacturing. And just as we did before, we will provide 100% expensing. It will be retroactive to January 20th, 2025, And it was one of the main reasons why our tax cuts were so successful in our first term, giving us the most successful economy in the history of our country. First term. We had a great first term. If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Canada, have you heard of them? And countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%. China's average tariff on our products is twice what we charge them. And South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that, 4 times higher. And we give so much help militarily and in so many other ways to South Korea, but that's what happens. This is happening by friend and foe. This system is not fair to the United States and never was, and so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day cost us a lot of money. But we're going to do it in April. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them. If they do non-monetary tariffs to keep us out of their market, then we will do non-monetary barriers to keep them out of our market. There's a lot of that, too. They don't even allow us in their market. We will take in trillions and trillions of dollars and create jobs like we have never seen before. I did it with China, and I did it with others, and the Biden administration couldn't do anything about it because there was so much money they couldn't do anything about it. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer. Much has been said over the last 3 months about Mexico and Canada, but we have very large deficits with both of them. But even more importantly, they've allowed fentanyl to come into our country at levels never seen before, killing hundreds of thousands of our citizens and many very young, beautiful people, destroying families. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They are, in effect, receiving subsidies of hundreds of billions of dollars. We pay subsidies to Canada and to Mexico of hundreds of billions of dollars, and the United States will not be doing that any longer. We're not going to do it any longer. Thanks to our America First policies we're putting into place, we have had $1.7 trillion of new investment in America in just the past few weeks. The combination of the election and our economic policies that people of SoftBank, one of the most brilliant anywhere in the world, announced a $200 billion investment. OpenAI and Oracle, Larry Ellison, announced $500 billion investment, which they wouldn't have done if Kamala had won. Apple announced $500 billion investment. Tim Cook called me. He said, I cannot spend it fast enough. It's going to be much higher than that, I believe. They'll be building their plants here instead of in China. And just yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductor, the biggest in the world, most powerful in the world, has a tremendous amount, 97% of the market, announced a $165 billion investment to build the most powerful chips on earth right here in the USA. And we're not giving them any money. Your CHIPS Act is a horrible, horrible thing. We give hundreds of billions of dollars, and it doesn't mean a thing. They take our money and they don't spend it. All that meant to them, we're giving them no money. All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building, and many other companies are coming. We don't have to give them money. We just want to protect our businesses and our people, and they will come because they won't have to pay tariffs if they build in America. So it's very amazing. You should get rid of the CHIP Act, and whatever's left over, Mr. Speaker, you should use it to reduce debt or any other reason you want to. Our new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the farmer. Who will now be selling into our home market, the USA, because nobody is going to be able to compete with you. Because there's goods that come in from other countries and companies. They're really in a bad position in so many different ways. They're uninspected. They may be very dirty and disgusting, and they come in and they pour in, and they hurt our American farmers. The tariffs will go on agricultural product coming into America, and our farmers, starting on April 2nd, it may be a little bit of an adjustment period. We had that before when I made the deal with China, $50 billion of purchases, and I said, just bear with me, and they did. They did. Probably have to bear with me again, and this will be even better. That was great. The problem with it was that Biden didn't enforce it. He didn't enforce it. $50 billion of purchases, and we were doing great, but Biden did not enforce it, and it hurt our farmers. But our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too. I love you too. It's all going to happen. And I have also imposed a 25% tariff on foreign aluminum, copper, lumber, and steel, because if we don't have, as an example, steel and lots of other things, we don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. Here today is a proud American steelworker, fantastic person from Decatur, Alabama, Jeff Denard. Has been working at the same steel plant for 27 years in a job that has allowed him to serve as the captain of his local volunteer fire department, raise 7 children with his beautiful wife, Nicole, and over the years provide a loving home for more than 40 foster children. So great, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Stories like Jeff's remind us that tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh. And look where Biden took us, very low, the lowest we've ever been. Jeff, I want to thank you very much. And I also want to recognize another person who has devoted herself to foster care community. She works so hard on it. A very loving person, our magnificent First Lady of the United States. Melania's work has yielded incredible results, helping prepare our nation's future leaders as they enter the workforce. Our First Lady is joined by 2 impressive young women, very impressive. Haley Ferguson, who benefited from the First Lady's Fostering the Future initiative, and is poised to complete her education and become a teacher. And Elliston Berry, who became a victim of an illicit deepfake image produced by a peer. With Elliston's help, the Senate just passed the Take It Down Act, and this is so important. Thank you very much, John. John Thune, thank you. Stand up, John. Thank you, John. Thank you all very much. Thank you. And thank you to John Thune and the Senate. Great job. To criminalize the publication of such images online is a terrible, terrible thing. And once it passes the House, I look forward to signing that bill into law. Thank you. And I'm going to use that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody. That's great. Thank you very much to the Senate. Thank you. But if we truly care about protecting Americans' children, no step is more crucial than securing America's borders. Over the past 4 years, 21 million people poured into the United States. Many of them were murderers, human traffickers, gang members, and other criminals from the streets of dangerous cities all throughout the world. Because of Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies, they are now strongly embedded in our country, but we are getting them out and getting them out fast. And I want to thank Tom Homan and Christy. I want to thank you and Paul of Border Patrol. I want to thank you. What a job they've all done. Everybody, Border Patrol, ICE, law enforcement in general is incredible. We have to take care of our law enforcement. Have to. Last year, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley, the best in her class, admired by everybody, went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia. That morning, Laken was viciously attacked, assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Laken's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren. Last year, I told Laken's grieving parents that we would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act. It's called the Laken-Riley Act. So Allison and Lauren, America will never, ever forget our beautiful Laken Hope Riley. Thank you very much. Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history, and we quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded. Thank you. The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president. Thank you. Joe Biden didn't just open our borders, he flew illegal aliens over them to overwhelm our schools, hospitals, and communities throughout the country. Entire towns like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, buckled under the weight of the migrant occupation and corruption like nobody's ever seen before. Beautiful towns destroyed. Now, just as I promised in my inaugural address, we are achieving the great liberation of America. But there still is much work to be done. Here tonight is a woman I have gotten to know, Alexis Nungari from Houston. Wonderful woman. Last June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious Jocelyn, walked to a nearby convenience store. She was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted for 2 hours under a bridge, and horrifically murdered. Arrested and charged with this heinous crime are 2 illegal alien monsters from Venezuela, released into America by the last administration through their ridiculous open border. The death of this beautiful 12-year-old girl and the agony of her mother and family touched our entire nation greatly. Alexis, I promised that we would always remember your daughter, your magnificent daughter, and earlier tonight I signed an order keeping my word to you. One thing I have learned about Jocelyn is that she loved animals so much. She loved nature. Across Galveston Bay, from where Jocelyn lived in Houston, you will find a magnificent national wildlife refuge, a pristine, peaceful, 34,000-acre sanctuary for all of God's creatures on the edge of the Gulf of America. Alexis, moments ago, I formally renamed that refuge in loving memory of your beautiful daughter, Jocelyn. So, Mr. Vice President, if you would, may I have the order? Thank you very much. All 3 savages charged with Jocelyn and Lakin's murders were members of the Venezuelan prison gang, the toughest gang, they say, in the world, known as Tren de Aragua. 2 weeks ago, I officially designated this gang, along with MS-13 and the bloodthirsty Mexican drug cartels, as foreign terrorist organizations. They are now officially in the same category as ISIS, and that's not good for them. Countless thousands of these terrorists were welcomed into the U.S. by the Biden administration. But now every last one will be rounded up and forcibly removed from our country, or, if they're too dangerous, put in jails, standing trial in this country, because we don't want them to come back ever. With us this evening is a warrior on the front lines of that battle, Border Patrol Agent Roberto Ortiz. Great guy. In January, Roberto and another agent were patrolling by the Rio Grande near an area known as Cartel Island. Doesn't sound too nice to me. When heavily armed gunmen started shooting at them, Roberto saw that his partner was totally exposed, at great danger, and he leapt into action, returning fire and providing crucial seconds for his fellow agent to seek safety, just barely. I have some of the prints of that event, and it was not good. Agent Ortiz, we salute you for your great courage and for your line of fire that you took and for the bravery that you showed. We honor you, and we will always honor you. Thank you, Roberto, very much. Thank you, Roberto. And I actually got to know him on my many calls to the border. He's a great gentleman. The territory to the immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control. They have total control over a whole nation, posing a grave threat to our national security. The cartels are waging war in America, and it's time for America to wage war on the cartels, which we are doing. Five nights ago, Mexican authorities, because of our tariff policies being imposed on them, think of this, handed over to us 29 of the biggest cartel leaders in their country. That has never happened before. They want to make us happy. First time ever. But we need Mexico and Canada to do much more than they've done, and they have to stop the fentanyl and drugs pouring into the USA. They're going to stop it. I have sent Congress a detailed funding request laying out exactly how we will eliminate these threats to protect our homeland and complete the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than current record holder, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a moderate man, but someone who believed very strongly in borders. Americans expect Congress to send me this funding without delay so I can sign it into law. So, Mr. Speaker, John Thune, both of you, I hope you're going to be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Leader, thank you. Thank you very much. And let's get it to me. I'll sign it so fast, you won't even believe it. And as we reclaim our sovereignty, we must also bring back law and order to our cities and towns. In recent years, our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics. Many jurisdictions virtually ceased enforcing the law against dangerous repeat offenders while weaponizing law enforcement against political opponents like me. My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the DOJ. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck. Good luck. Pam Bondi, good luck. So important. Going to do a great job. Cash, thank you. Thank you, Cash. They've already started very strong. They're going to do a fantastic job. You're going to be very proud of them. We're also once again giving our police officers the support, protection, and respect they so dearly deserve. They have to get it. They have such a hard, dangerous job, but we're going to make it less dangerous. The problem is the bad guys don't respect the law, but they're starting to respect it, and they soon will respect it. This also includes our great fire departments throughout the country. Our firemen and women are unbelievable people, and we'll never forget them. And besides that, they voted for me in record numbers, so I have no choice. 1 year ago this month, 31-year-old New York police officer Jonathan Diller, unbelievably wonderful person and a great officer, was gunned down at a traffic stop on Long Island. I went to his funeral. The vicious criminal charged with his murder had 21 prior arrests, and they were rough arrests, too. He was a real bad one. The thug in the seat next to him had 14 prior arrests and went by the name of Killer. He was Killer. He killed other people, they say, a lot of them. I attended Officer Diller's service, and when I met his wife and one-year-old son, Ryan, it was very inspirational, actually. His widow's name is Stephanie, and she is here tonight. Stephanie, thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you very much. Stephanie, we're going to make sure that Ryan knows his dad was a true hero, New York's finest, and we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast. Got to stop it. They get out with 28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here. I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who murders a police officer, and tonight I'm asking Congress to pass that policy into permanent law. I'm also asking for a new crime bill getting tough on repeat offenders while enhancing protections for America's police officers so they can do their jobs without fear of their lives being totally destroyed. They don't want to be killed. We're not going to let them be killed. Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer, the doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago. Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service. Thank you, DJ. DJ's doctors believe his cancer likely came from a chemical he was exposed to when he was younger. Since 1975, rates of child cancer have increased by more than 40%. Reversing this trend is one of the top priorities for our new Presidential Commission to Make America Healthy Again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. With the name Kennedy, you would have thought everybody over here would have been cheering. How quickly they forget. Our goal is to get toxins out of our environment, poisons out of our food supply, and keep our children healthy and strong. As an example, not long ago, and you can't even believe these numbers, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, 1 in 10,000. And now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong. 1 in 36. Think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on. Okay, Bobby? Good luck. It's a very important job. Thank you. Thank you. My administration is also working to protect our children from toxic ideologies in our schools. A few years ago, January Littlejohn and her husband discovered that their daughter's school had secretly socially transitioned their 13-year-old little girl. Teachers and administrators conspired to deceive January and her husband while encouraging her daughter to use a new name and pronouns. They, them pronoun, actually, all without telling January, who is here tonight and is now a courageous advocate against this form of child abuse. January, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Stories like this are why, shortly after taking office, I signed an executive order banning public schools from indoctrinating our children with transgender ideology. I also signed an order to cut off all taxpayer funding to any institution that engages in the sexual mutilation of our youth. And now I want Congress to pass a bill permanently banning and criminalizing sex changes on children and forever ending the lie that any child is trapped in the wrong body. This is a big lie. And our message to every child in America is that you are perfect exactly the way God made you. Because we're getting wokeness out of our schools and out of our military, and it's already out, and it's out of our society. We don't want it. Wokeness is trouble. Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better? Our service members won't be activists and ideologues. They will be fighters and warriors. They will fight for our country. And Pete, congratulations. Secretary of Defense, congratulations. And he's not big into the woke movement, I can tell you. I know him well. I am pleased to report that in January, the U.S. Army had its single best recruiting month in 15 years, and that all armed services are having among the best recruiting results ever in the history of our services. What a difference. And you know, it was just a few months ago where the results were exactly the opposite. We couldn't recruit anywhere. We couldn't recruit. Now we're having the best results just about that we've ever had. What a tremendous turnaround. It's really a beautiful thing to see. People love our country again. It's very simple. They love our country, and they love being in our military again. So it's a great thing, and thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. We're joined tonight by a young man, Jason Hartley, who knows the weight of that call of duty. Jason's father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all wore the uniform. Jason tragically lost his dad, who was also a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy when he was just a boy, and now he wants to carry on the family legacy of service. Jason is a senior in high school, a 6-letter varsity athlete, a really good athlete, they say, a brilliant student with a 4.46, that's good, GPA. And his greatest dream is to attend the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And Jason, that's a very big deal getting in. That's a hard one to get into. But I'm pleased to inform you that your application has been accepted. You will soon be joining the Corps of Cadets. Thank you. Jason, you're going to be on the long gray line, Jason. As Commander-in-Chief, my focus is on building the most powerful military of the future. As a first step, I'm asking Congress to fund a state-of-the-art Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland, all made in the USA. And Ronald Reagan wanted to do it long ago, but the technology just wasn't there, not even close. But now we have the technology. It's incredible, actually. And other places, they have it. Israel has it. Other places have it. And the United States should have it too, right, Tim, right? They should have it too. So I want to thank you. But it's a very, very important. This is a very dangerous world. We should have it. We want to be protected, and we're going to protect our citizens like never before. To boost our defense industrial base, we are also going to resurrect the American shipbuilding industry, including commercial shipbuilding and military shipbuilding. And for that purpose, I am announcing tonight that we will create a new Office of Shipbuilding in the White House and offer special tax incentives to bring this industry home to America where it belongs. We used to make so many ships. We don't make them anymore very much, but we're going to make them very fast, very soon. It will have a huge impact. To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it. Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal and lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work. They paid them very highly to go there, knowing there was a 25% chance that they would die. The most expensive project also that was ever built in our country's history, if you bring it up to modern day costs. It was given away by the Carter administration for $1. But that agreement has been violated very severely. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong. Marco's been amazing, and he's going to do a great job. Think of it. He got 100 votes. You know, he was approved with actually 99, but the 100th was this gentleman, and I feel very certain. So let's assume he got 100 votes. And I'm either very, very happy about that or I'm very concerned about it. But he's already proven. I mean, he's a great gentleman. He's respected by everybody, and we appreciate you voting for Marco. He's going to do a fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you. He's doing a great job. Great job. And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security. America is once again standing strong against the forces of radical Islamic terrorism. 3.5 years ago, ISIS terrorists killed 13 American service members and countless others in the Abbey Gate bombing during the disastrous and incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan. Not that they were withdrawing, it was the way they withdrew. Perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity, and he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of American justice. And I want to thank especially the government of Pakistan for helping arrest this monster. This was a very momentous day for those 13 families who I actually got to know very well, most of them, whose children were murdered, and the many people that were so badly, over 42 people, so badly injured on that fateful day in Afghanistan. What a horrible day. Such incompetence was shown that when Putin saw what happened, I guess he said, wow, maybe this is my chance. That's how bad it was. Should have never happened. Grossly incompetent people. I spoke to many of the parents and loved ones, and they're all in our hearts tonight. Just spoke to them on the phone. We had a big call. Every one of them called, and everybody was on the line, and they did nothing but cry with happiness. They were very happy, as happy as you can be under those circumstances. Their child, brother, sister, son, daughter was killed for no reason whatsoever. In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza. In my first term, we achieved one of the most groundbreaking peace agreements in generations, the Abraham Accords. And now we're going to build on that foundation to create a more peaceful and prosperous future for the entire region. A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. People have been talking about that so much lately with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. But a lot of things are happening in the Middle East. It's a rough neighborhood, actually. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. $2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said at some point, come on, let's equalize. You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides. Nearly 4 years ago, amid rising tensions, a history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years in a penal colony. Rough stuff. The previous administration barely lifted a finger to help him. They knew he was innocent, but they had no idea where to begin. But last summer, I promised his 95-year-old mother, Malphine, that we would bring her boy safely back home. After 22 days in office, I did just that, and they are here tonight. To Mark and his great mom, we are delighted to have you safe and sound and with us. As fate would have it, Mark Fogel was born in a small rural town in Butler, Pennsylvania. Have you heard of it? Where his mother has lived for the past 78 years. I just happened to go there last July 13th for a rally. That was not pleasant. And that is where I met his beautiful mom right before I walked onto that stage. And I told her I would not forget what she said about her son. And I never did I? Never forgot. Less than 10 minutes later, at that same rally, gunfire rang out, and a sick and deranged assassin unloaded 8 bullets from his sniper's perch into a crowd of many thousands of people. My life was saved by a fraction of an inch, but some were not so lucky. Corey Comparator was a firefighter, a veteran, a Christian, a husband, a devoted father, and above all, a protector. When the sound of gunshots pierced the air, it was a horrible sound. Corey knew instantly what it was and what to do. He threw himself on top of his wife and daughters and shielded them from the bullets with his own body. Corey was hit really hard. You know the story from there. He sacrificed his life to save theirs. 2 others, very fine people, were also seriously hit. But thankfully, with the help of 2 great country doctors, we thought they were gone and they were saved. So those doctors had great talent. We're joined by Corey's wife, Helen, who was his high school sweetheart, and their two beloved daughters, Allison and Kaylee. Thank you. To Helen, Allison, and Kaylee, Corey is looking down on his three beautiful ladies right now, and he is cheering you on. He loves you. He is cheering you on. Corey was taken from us much too soon, but his destiny was to leave us all with a shining example of the selfless devotion of a true American patriot. It was love like Corey's that built our country, and it's love like Corey's that is going to make our country more majestic than ever before. I believe that my life was saved that day in Butler for a very good reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. I believe that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. From the patriots of Lexington and Concord to the heroes of Gettysburg and Normandy, from the warriors who crossed the Delaware to the trailblazers who climbed the Rockies, and from the legends who soared at Kitty Hawk to the astronauts who touched the moon, Americans have always been the people who defied all odds, transcended all dangers, made the most extraordinary sacrifices, and did whatever it took to defend our children, our country, and our freedom. And as we have seen in this chamber tonight, that same strength, faith, love, and spirit is still alive and thriving in the hearts of the American people. Despite the best efforts of those who would try to censor us, silence us, break us, destroy us, Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent nation that will always be free, and we will fight for it till death. We will never let anything happen to our beloved country, because we are a country of doers, dreamers, fighters, and survivors. Our ancestors crossed a vast ocean, strode into the unknown wilderness, and carved their fortunes from the rock and soil of a perilous and very dangerous frontier. They chased our destiny across a boundless continent. They built the railroads, laid the highways, and graced the world with American marvels like the Empire State Building, the mighty Hoover Dam, and the towering Golden Gate Bridge. They lit the world with electricity, broke free of the force of gravity, fired up the engines of American industry, vanquished the communists, fascists, and Marxists all over the world, and gave us countless modern wonders sculptured out of iron, glass, and steel. We stand on the shoulders of these pioneers who won and built the modern age, these workers who poured their sweat into the skylines of our cities, these warriors who shed their blood on fields of battle and gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. Now it is our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty. And it is our turn to take America's destiny into our own hands and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth. We are going to create the highest quality of life, build the safest and wealthiest and healthiest and most vital communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we are going to lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond. And through it all, we are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day, we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve. My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future, because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Got to be the longest
I mean, that was long.
address I've ever heard.
I'm-
But I'm not
It was
mad about
great. No,
it at all.
that was great.
It is officially the longest address to Congress. That happened a few minutes ago. He passed Reagan's. So, yeah, it is.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, the Secret Service kid.
Oh, I mean,
What-
I almost cried like 3 times. He was handing out Make-A-Wish like nobody's business.
Make-A-Wish side I didn't even know. Did anyone even think that was a possibility for like a State of the Union type address, that you could just be doing Make-A-Wish?
And you got into West Point. And
Exactly,
you're a
like,
Secret Service member.
unreal.
It was great. It was
Unreal.
It was rocking.
And what a great rhetorical chess move too, is like Democrats couldn't stand for a kid with brain cancer who just became a
Yeah.
Secret Service agent.
And he called it at the beginning. He's
Well-
like, you guys, no matter what I say
Yeah, I know.
tonight, you are not going to stand. And he was right.
It's so true. You're not in favor of us killing terrorists that killed Americans. Like, what are Democrats
Oh,
in
man.
favor of? I like, what an embarrassing display.
I like they had those little signs
Signs.
like they were at an auction or something
Oh,
like
the
that.
memes are all
It's almost like they're for
pouring
sale.
into the internet.
You know, it'd been nice. Like, it's like the quiet please, you know, if they're golfing, like, play quiet please.
Oh my gosh. Well, wow. I mean,
It was great.
I don't want to talk for too long after this, because we're gonna have a great show tomorrow. So for those of you that are joining that don't join us in the live show, we go live 11 a.m. Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're gonna go over all of the moments from the show. It's gonna be a great time. And we also cover a bunch of other topics too. Some of our regulars, many of our regulars in here know how fun it is. But you can also find us on podcasts as well, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Do you have any closing? Let me limit this cap because it went so long, but any closing thoughts as you feel it super fresh right now? Josh, go for it.
Well, I mean, it was long, but it was not boring. I mean, you've had these presidential addresses that have been long, and you're like, I'm tapping out. Like I say this in a way, in a good way. He knows how to put on a show. And so he kept it entertaining. And it wasn't like it was all just a circus. He had policy he talked about, like the number, like I said, you know, down to like 8,000 border crossings, you know, 90% drop. So he was talking about substance. But yeah, obviously, you know, like the point where, you know, that poor lady, that poor mom, her 12-year-old daughter died. He named a reserve after her 12-year-old daughter. I mean, it's just classy thing.
Totally.
You know, and like you mentioned with the young guy, he made a member of the Secret Service, and the guy he put into West Point. I mean, obviously he knows, like that's going to play well with the audience, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. I mean, it's okay. Like,
no, you know what I will say in this, and I think it was Meg Basham I saw on Twitter said this, like when people bring in citizens for ops like that, it kind of feels corny in a lot of times. I actually think in this case it didn't. And I do think it's because President Trump genuinely has a love and connection to the American people in a way that I think most people kind of using the corny random citizen ops don't. And I think he's just proven that over and over again here.
Yeah.
well,
I think it works.
I mean, especially when he's talking about, the firefighter father who was shot by the assassin, in Butler, PA, and he dove on his family, saved a life. I mean, like, how can you protest that? I mean, he's paying respects to a guy who came to his rally to cheer him on, and he gets murdered because of some psychopath that tried to kill Trump. And like what, 1/8 of an inch? He turns at the last second.
But for a miracle, this would not be happening tonight.
You can feel it. You can just feel it. Like you could feel, it honestly made me emotional hearing him talk about Laken Riley, which notably none of the Democrats stood up, and maybe some of them are clapping, but
they did clap. They did clap.
Not all of them.
Clapped.
Not all of them.
No, of course not. No. But
so for you to sit and not clap, as like when I think of Laken Riley, she could be me. That could be my daughter. That could be my sister. That's me. I'm an American citizen. Like
Democrats say they're for women.
Well, they don't even know what a woman is. I mean, we get back to this.
They just voted to put boys in girls' sports. So
there's so many points here. Like if you really thought Trump was the next Hitler, the best you could muster in form of protest was wearing coordinating pink outfits. It just made you look so unserious.
Yeah.
It made you look unserious. And Eric, I want to get to your thoughts too.
Theater kids.
I want to total theater kids. But like, I just, if you can't, like they talk about the reverence for a Roman citizen, right? Like Roman citizens, no one could touch Roman citizens. If you were a Roman citizen, the only person that could punish you was another Roman citizen. Like the reverence that Donald Trump has for what an American citizen is and what they get as an American citizen. Like I feel that when I think of Laken Riley, when I think of the 12-year-old who got brutally murdered, and those were by policy decisions and people that were not clapping for reverence or showing respect to those families that were here tonight. What is there's no other explanation other than these people hate you. They hate you. They hate Americans. I'd be happy to hear another explanation. I don't think there is one. They despise you. And it's clear to me that Donald Trump loves you. So I want to say, Erica, I want to give you some runway. What were your thoughts?
It is after 11. We have 56 minutes that we can eat a snack before lunch starts. So I'm going to save my thoughts for the show tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Live.
Oh, a tease.
Yeah. I do have thoughts, and they're not just about fashion and what the women were wearing. So
all right,
substance here.
Hold me to it when I intro tomorrow. Erica, you are getting the first.
I go first tomorrow. That's my call.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, Ash Wednesday tomorrow, guys. Make sure you guys hit mass. I know it's not a holy day obligation, but it's always good when you see the ashes on the forehead.
It's a good thing to do.
And yeah, good luck out there. Hopefully you can squeeze into a mass. I know they get pretty tight, but looking forward to it. All right. Good show, guys. We will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you for being everyone here in the chat. Really appreciate it, guys.